Well, yeah, a lifetime is your entire life. That's kind of the meaning of the word. Before I go any further down the list, there's an episode I just have to talk about. It's episode 15 and it's called Dance of the Mayflies. The crew are attempting to rescue people from this space station. The Andromeda universe calls these drifts, for the record. It seems like Becca's CPR skills have dropped considerably now that she's trying to resuscitate an unnamed character. So they rescue a bunch of people. Romy getting a moment to shine as she saves a little girl. The drift is attacked and blown up and the attackers chase the Andromeda around. The people they rescue all die from a virus and Becca becomes infected. If she falls asleep, she'll die. It's like a shit crank. In a brave attempt at continuity, she refuses stimulants of any kind, because of her addiction to Flash. Why not take a shot of adrenaline? Like, I know it can be addictive, but she does face death fairly often. In fact, this very episode has her fighting for her life when the zombies rise up.
You're surprised? That's what you get for incessantly trying to help.
Everything I've bitched about. Forget it. Not important. Any show that pulls zombies out of its ass halfway through an episode is fine by me. So the crew have to find a way of killing them. Despite having a 15 rating on the DVDs, the show is very bloodless and goes with electrocution. Hunt levels up his mage skill just in time.
Oh yeah. Level 8 works.
Guess how they spread the virus? Go on, give a wee guess. By kissing? It's like an apocalypse for preschoolers. I love it. The virus actually turns out to be a parasitic hive mind that kills the host and eats their memories and wanders around in the corpse apparently forever. The lead spore thing takes over Trance and has a badass fight with Robo-Romy, and then they inject electricity into the infected people and save all the named characters. But wait, why was Trance so easy to infect? Well, she's a zombie already. I mentioned that she's died a few times this series, right? And in the last series they mentioned that the Andromeda couldn't read Trance's life signs. Well, there you go. Stop expecting this to make sense and just enjoy the mystery. It's hard to believe, but this episode also features some important character points, so I'll return to the list, shall I? Well, if you elected literal, actual robots into your government, what did you expect? And why do you believe that you deserve any more? Andromeda. This season seems to be making a conscious effort to have the robot version and hologram ship version act differently. The robot version has started to develop feelings and stuff. This is explored in a kinda messy episode earlier on that talks about the idea of artificial intelligence and the sentience and merit thereof. This episode has Romy wreak havoc on the city by hacking into the nuclear power plant and causing a meltdown, as well as fucking with the traffic lights and killing hundreds. She's trying to get into a building to destroy a new model of fire ship that can blow up planets, but I feel there were less destructive ways of doing this.
Don't you get it? You're making them, right?
Even if you had to destroy the building and everyone in it, that's still better than the plan she came up with. The literal and economic fallout of this will hurt or kill many more than the one-off surprise demolition. She feels bad about it, so it's all okay really. And actually, small note, in a universe where you've developed nova bombs, things that can blow up an entire sun, really, what does it matter if people have technology to blow up a planet? During the zombie uprising we get this.
You're letting your feelings cloud your objectivity, am I?
The hologram version is berating her about wasting RAM on sissy emotions. Although there have been scenes where the ship hologram versions display emotions like jealousy. Amusingly, in the same episode they have Tyr behave more like a human being and like care and stuff. I'll get back to that more later, but he's essentially doing the same thing as the robot, but the hologram is merely amused by this. Why the double standard there, machine? And why are you allowed to be amused but the robot isn't allowed to be upset? Stop being a dick. Stop being illogical. Yeah, I went there. They're really trying to push Robo-Romy as a kind of kung fu Buffy badass, starting at the end of last season. But look at this Matrix get up. Come on. I hate to piss on it for trying, but it's just silly looking. To no fault of the actress either, she's doing her best. But the thing is, it doesn't add to her character or make her more human or whatever they're trying to do. She's an android and is inherently more powerful and less vulnerable. And with little internal characterization going on, the kung fu comes off as just convenient. They also keep changing her hair, presumably to try and make her seem more human. Because truly, changing your hairstyle every 5 minutes is the soul of a woman, isn't it? Let's talk generally about the robots and AI, because it's as confusing as anything else we've thrown at us thus far. Very late on, Hunt decides that he needs an army to defend the Commonwealth he's rebuilding. This is the episode where he's signing his 50th delegate. I feel you should have thought about this sooner. Why did 50 states sign up behind one warship, manned by 6 people? These are the stories that would have been interesting to see. I don't really care about your brief romances. So he finds this place where a collection of Andromeda type warships are being held, and he has to talk them into joining him. His override code doesn't work because they're defiant and autonomous. Broken. Several nitpicky things here. How come all the ship avatars are human? I got the impression that the Andromeda was because most of her crew were human. That in that part of the galaxy, human was the default. But that can't be true for all of them, right? The veterans were the leaders of the Commonwealth. Surely some of the avatars would look like them. Or any of the other races. Second, why is resetting a faulty AI considered such a big terrible thing to do in this universe? I guess the idea is that the AI learns and you lose those experiences, but their initial programming seems to be more than capable. Usually. Third, have we just done away with the robots being tied to the ship now? They find this guy in a different sector of the galaxy and he's been there for some 200 years. 4. Why did they make this robot look so plastic? Romy looks like a normal person. 5. How does this same robot, a traitor, deserter, and all-round rather useless AI get programmed in the first place? We're told that they are created by someone. Romy constantly references their programming. And why then does Hunt make useless bot captain of another ship? I suppose this is something the show does actually less wrong than some of the other things it tries. It's at least asking questions and proposing ideas around the issue of personhood related to the robot personalities. Even if the show comes down on the pro-robot side, it does make you think about the issue at least a little. There is a grain of good sci-fi there.
Well, Tyr, if I ate food, you'd be wearing it right now.
Lovely imagery. And they say AIs have no poetry in their souls.
So, God enjoys top-down pornography then?
Yeah, and it's not like Anaris has a lot to offer. It's a volcanic rock with a toxic atmosphere. There's no redeeming value.
Except for the women. Talk about volcanic. So they tell me.
Harper hasn't changed much. Well, maybe a little. They do make less references to Harper wanting to bone Robo-Romy. They replace this with him being the fast-talking comic relief, which is just annoying, although your mileage may vary. In one episode, Harper gets to captain the Andromeda and learns responsibility or whatever. He has to put aside his burning hatred for all Nietzscheans everywhere, except for Tyr, and save some people instead. We learn that Harper likes early 20th century dance music.
Come on, Becca. Dance with me.
In a more Harper-centered episode, we get back to Earth to meet one of his cousins. In this episode, the Nietzscheans have conquered Earth and have set up at death camps and slavery and all that good stuff history files get nostalgic for once in a while. We learn that a further cousin was murdered when they were annoying the Nietzscheans before Harper ran away. Given the 3 cousins at the Magogi, he seems to have cousins to spare anyway. I'm sure more will spring up when they need family worth caring about but that aren't as close as siblings. Anyway, they're trying to organise a rebellion with this rabble-rousing speech.
People are ready to rise up. In Paris, Tokyo, Singapore, Johannesburg, in thousands, in hundreds of thousands. And they're all waiting. Waiting for you. Waiting for Boston. Because this was where it all began. The most important revolution in the history of Earth started in Boston. The very idea that all people, whether born or engineer, are equal started in Boston. So now, it is Boston's turn again. Time to show your courage. Time to storm the barricades. Time to fire a shot that will be heard around the world for freedom. He's right.
But it fails and hundreds die because Hunt had better things to do. Actually, suspending my sarcasm for a moment, he did. He was trying to stop the major Nietzschean pride, the dragons, from developing their army. I actually like that they treat Earth like the crapola it is. They could very easily have had Hunt charge in and rescue Earth America because it's the homeland and freedom and stuff.
For crying out loud, I'm not just talking about some mudball here. We're talking about Earth. Terra, the mother world of all humanity. It's only the most important planet in the whole freaking universe.
Well, okay, Harper thinks it's great, but it's his home. His home where his parents and legions of cousins were brutally murdered, and that he ran away from it as fast as he could. For the first half of the season, Harper is very nearly an important and interesting character. Due to being captured and inseminated by the Magog, he's carrying around a bunch of Magog babies in his guts. They are inhibited by some drug or something until they can find a way of removing the eggs. The episodes building up to the awful conclusion are wasted too. Harper is facing death. The Magog eggs are basically cancer. Having cancer should affect a character, you know. Give them something to think about. What would they want to do with the time they have left? For Harper, it could have been the catalyst for him truly accepting Hunt's mission to restore order and protect people from stuff like this. Instead, we get to listen to Harper nonchalantly whine all the time. And hey, here's a clip of him with the eggs.
It's scrap paper, no offense. Looks like my toolbox puked.
You always say that about orbital habitats. You'd rather walk on dirt, I suppose?
I prefer the term soil.
And without.
You think I'm coming just to give you a shoulder to cry on? That's sweet, but no. I want to make sure that freaking psycho's good and dead. How to Dump a Loser Boyfriend in 5 Easy Lessons by Seamus Harper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's no difference, so what's the fucking point? The Pink Ghost sends one of his agents after him to try and exploit this and get him to betray the Andromeda. Which he of course does, but then realises what a terrible mistake it is to lose his hot showers and comfortable bedroom. So he saves the day and gets rid of some of the Magog larvae. What a perfect happy conclusion. After the betrayal episode and halfway point of the season, he's starting to die again, and this finally propels him to try and save his own life. Due to a plot thing in an earlier episode, they scavenge some Tesseract technology, which, like in the Avengers, is essentially a MacGuffin that can bend space-time or whatever. I should stress it's not used nearly as well. He's trying to rebuild the new technology and accidentally tears space and time apart. Let's recap. In Season 1, Harper, basically on his own, invents from the ground up teleportation and time travel. And in Season 2, he, with help, can't recreate technology and instead rips up a bit of the universe. This is astonishing to me. Anyway, they sort it out because of Nutrants and everybody lives happily ever after. They mention the Magog eggs once later, but it's like a fun trivia note. This is an unforgivable waste of plot. They could have had him fall through with the betrayal and had to work hard to make it up to Hunt. Or, you know, some sort of payoff or lasting effect or anything. It's not like this is one of those character plots that they shove into a single episode and expect to be forgotten. They devote half the season to this, and I could so easily have chosen not to mention it.
Blind and crippled. If Andromeda were my child, I'd drown it.